gaming bets. We accept bets on computer games online since 2011. Referral system for regular users and the first deposit bonus. Gaming devices store and the best choice of payment systems. Dota 2 and Hearthstone, Counter-Strike and StarCraft, World of Tanks and League of Legends. EGB.com. You know for sure who's going to win.
G2A.com, the best video game store ever! Fast as lightning, solid as a rock, cheap as duck! What's more, you can sell on it because it's also a marketplace. Remember G2A.com, the best video game store ever!
Welcome back, Counter-Strike fans. I'm Jim Inesso, and of course, I'm joined by none other than PK Noodle, with a very special guest this evening. He's back in the hot seat with us, Coach Gomez from Renegades. How are we going this evening, gents? Well, that worked.
Tris, I thought you'd not jump in there at that opportunity. No, Tris, got nothing to say still? Okay.
No, I got nothing.
He warned us beforehand that he was going to be a little bit nervous coming onto this cast with us. We can be quite intimidating, so it's all right. We'll try and ease you in quite gently, Tris. But no, we're very privileged to have you on board here. We really appreciate you jumping in with us, giving us, I guess, your special insight that you do possess, being the current coach of Team Renegades, a team that's sometimes based in North America, sometimes based here in Australia. So hopefully we can have a bit of fun.
Yeah, hopefully. But of course, we've got a very special counterpit match.
Counterpitch?
We keep this strictly professional, Gomez. Stop trying to derail us. Now.
Of course, we've got Vox Eminor up against Exile5 in our second matchup for this evening. Interesting one, given that very much their hopes and dreams are still alive in this competition.
Well, yeah, allow me to set the scene as I tried to do previously in terms of what each team needs to do, because they are both technically still in the running for that first place. Their paths to what they need to do to secure that trip to Croatia are a little bit different. First of all, from an Exile5 perspective, they've got 2 games remaining. They must win them both. So it goes without saying they must win this match against Vox Eminor tonight, 2-0. No questions. Otherwise, they'll be finding themselves on the outer as we move into the final day's play tomorrow. So they must 2-0. From a Vox Eminor perspective, they've got a little bit more buffer room. For them, as a minimum tonight, they must get a draw out of this. So they need at least one of the 2 maps. So 2 different things to play for, but both teams still in contention mathematically. Which is what we always like to see, because it'll mean that, I guess, the winner will be determined on the final day's play. It always makes it a little bit more exciting for everyone, I think.
Definitely makes it a little bit more exciting, and always keen to get your insight on these rounds, Chris. Obviously, the map vetoes have just come in for these 2 teams as well. Maybe we can quickly run through the lineups of the 2 teams. It's not, in fact, Bot, Reed and Kevin that are currently in the server. For Vox Eminor this evening, their expected lineup will be none other than Sicko, not also joined by Nova, Moe, Koze, and of course rounded out by their new 5th, RBZ. So they are lining up pretty much as expected. And their opposition for this evening, if you'd like to take us through those guys, Nick.
Yeah, so their opposition will be Exile5 in the form of Ferg, STV, Diggs, Pex, and Dans. Now, they're a team that we've seen 3 times already this season. Chris or Gomez, as your alias stands. You were with us last night, actually casted one of their matches. What did you make of their play as a team? We saw them go down against Chiefs in the end, but what did you like? What did you not like?
Yeah, I saw them play Mirage. They looked alright. They have some set executes on A. If Vox Eminor watched that VOD at all, or even watched it live last night, they'll know exactly what they're doing. They mainly go to A with set smokes to block off the site rather than the stairs and the connector. and then they try and plant in the smoke. So they need to play ahead of those smokes or have a lot of resources like Molotovs and flashes and basically just spray them down as they're running through into that area to plant. The other map, I can't actually remember. Was it
Train.
Cache?
Mirage
Train.
and
Oh, it was
Train,
Train.
that's all, yeah.
Train, it looked like they didn't have anything at all. So, and they're not playing Train tonight, so there's no point even talking about Train.
Yeah, I think that was the message, wasn't it, that came out on Twitter after the game, that perhaps Exile5 a little bit reminiscent on the fact that perhaps not having that map pool depth as a young team that perhaps they would like just yet. And I think that, unfortunately, in that case, playing Train probably didn't work out for them in the sense. But I think having Dust 2 and Mirage, normally two of the staple maps here in the Australian scene, on the cards for tonight, I think that's probably going to lend itself a little bit better to their style of play.
Yeah, the maps.
Standard map pool.
The maps tonight are interesting. I don't know if XL5 knows something I don't know, but they always seem, I think, to lose the map veto. Like, the only map I really wouldn't want to play Vox Eminor on would probably be Dust 2. And their Mirage isn't that bad either. And I didn't think XL5's Mirage was that great either. So, I don't know. Maybe they just know something I don't. But I don't like these maps for XL5 at all. And the odds, I thought the odds were like pretty skewed, and maybe a little cheeky XL5 bet might have been on the cards for people that are betting. But with seeing these maps, I still don't think XL5 will win, but I think it'll be closer than what the odds suggest. But the maps tip it over the edge. I think Vox Eminor will win.
Now, Jim, before I get your thoughts, I've got some breaking news here, and it breaks my heart to be telling this news live on stream because I think they're about to lose half of our viewer base by revealing this. But apparently it's been brought to my attention by one of the team captains that a gentleman's agreement has been made between both Exile5 and Vox Eminor that neither team are unfortunately going to be using the revolver in tonight's play. I know that there are a few people within the scene that were trying to orchestrate that sort of thing ourselves today, which was very disappointing to see. So that has been confirmed. We won't be seeing any of the sort of stuff. Yeah, just a gentleman's agreement. Won't be seeing any sort of the action that we did see in the previous matchup against Chiefs, of course, where they opted to use it every single round.
You're assuming there's 10 gentlemen in the server.
Yes.
One.
Who in which lineup, Chris, are you thinking of in particular that might be breaking that curfew?
No names. No names.
But you're just throwing that caution out there that potentially something's on the cards where under duress a revolver might make an appearance.
The straight scumbag.
Straight scumbag. There you go, from the words of the coach of Team Renegades. That's wonderful to hear. Jim, your thoughts? Which way do you think this is headed?
Yeah, look, I think from what we've seen so far between these two teams, we knew preparation was going to be a big factor and time that these two teams have had to prepare, obviously making changes to their respective lineups. From what we've seen so far, I just feel like Vox Eminor have been the stronger of the two teams. Now, we did see Exile5 manage to take a map of Team Immunity, but I definitely think there was more Team Immunity not coming to the party there than Exile5 really having anything solid prepared on it. So, look, I think from what we've seen, Vox Eminor just are going to come into this perhaps a little bit stronger, and I'm predicting a 2-0 Vox Eminor's way. Too many X's.
So we've got Chris or Gomez going in favour of Exile5, Jim Nesso going in favour of Vox Eminor, Noodle being the decider here. I think I'll be going in favour of a 1-1 draw. So straight down the middle. I guess I know you said that.
I think Chris got gypped on his pick there. I don't think that's the pick he made at all.
Didn't you say X5? Your mic's gone all quiet on me, Chris.
I said Vox Eminor 2-0.
Oh, okay. Well, that's disappointing for XL5's chances then, isn't it? Because I'm going for a 1-1 draw, so neither of us are predicting a win, but I think that they do have that potential, if they are playing well, to surprise the team. We saw them surprise Immunity, regardless of, I guess, perhaps how well Immunity were or weren't playing. I think you have to give credit to XL5 for their performance that night, and I think that they can, if they are all firing across all cylinders, bring it to Team Vox Eminor tonight on at least one map, I'm feeling. I think they've got a lot of potential. They're still a season to play for here. They can still clinch that first spot if everything goes in their favour. If they get the win on the board tonight, the guys know that. I think they were crunching the numbers this afternoon.
Just quite quickly.
I think it perhaps might have, but yeah, I think
it's back. It's back.
Good, but yeah, no, I think that there is that potential within the teams to take a map here tonight. Now, like we said, one map won't be enough, but I think that that's what they're going to have to settle for in the end because Vox very, very strong 5 across the board.
Yeah, I was disappointed not to see that knife round, obviously a victim of lag, but nonetheless, we didn't drop out of the server, so whatever issue there has been resolved. Now, if you were Exile5, what would you be saying to your troops? Obviously, these guys are still in contention. Well, less so than Vox Eminor. What would you be saying to motivate your troops here tonight?
The message would be clear. The first thing I'd be saying is just wait a few minutes before living it because my GoTV is not quite working. So that would be the first message. But now that I am in the server, things are fine to go live. So I'm glad they've listened to me.
Excellent.
But I'd also just be reminding and just talking and reiterating the fact that, look, how important this match is in the context, and especially for the younger players. I mean, they've got players like Pex in their team. They've also got players such as Dans, who, whilst he's played at a higher level, perhaps not so long as some of the other players in this competition, I think I'd be just trying to reiterate to them and just get them as focused as possible so that they're really bringing their A game tonight, because if those two, Pex and Dans, are hitting their shots in particular, that's when really they can start to trouble some teams. And that was really the scenario that Immunity found themselves in that night in the BO2 series, where Dans, Pex, even STV and Diggs themselves, everyone was just fragging. And I'd be doing everything that I could, and I'm sure Ferg is doing just that, trying to make sure that everyone on the team is ready to bring their game from the first map tonight, because they can't afford to have an off map or an off half. They need to be on point the entire night.
That's right, as they say, they've all got it to play for. On the flip side of things, too, Vox Eminor, it's going to be a key battle here for some of these players. Now, we saw Moe, dare say he's the form player in the competition right now, at least in this server amongst these players. He's certainly the man to look to, and I think he's going to be key in Vox Eminor, because we've seen him just constantly with scores anywhere from 25 plus. I think 37 frags is a number he put up against last night, up against Chiefs in that first series. So he's definitely one to look out for. But nonetheless, we're into the pistol round as Moe is the man leading the charge into this B site, as he does come into contact with STV and Ferg, just defending things as they do now spread across all 5 members sitting in that lower and upper dark region, just looking perhaps for some sort of mid to B. Cozzy's the man, the key to this round, because he's the one that's holding the utility. He's got the smoke and the flashbang, so he'll be looking to get himself behind Xbox there and just smoke things ready for that mid to B. Now look at this position they put Dans in. They're recognising the potential threat here. We saw Zeusy in a similar position last night, and he was able to get some great frags because of it, but they have faked them out completely there and caused a rotation into CT. They have taken this short A site as Pex does a lot of work here defending the site, but it's only a matter of time before they pounce on him, somehow getting 3 frags in that situation. And now Dans is going to try and prevent this plant, as he does manage to do so. But wow, Pex, Exile5 just holding strong in that A site. 3 frags pivoting on the dime.
Yeah, I'm probably almost convinced, having what I saw just then, that the intent from Vox Eminor coming into that round was almost certainly a mid to B. You could see that because they had the flashes and the smokes to do that. I think, though, when they could see the presence that Exile were placing there, they would have seen and would have heard the presence of 2 members there. And I think that was enough to almost scare them away, for good reason, but scare them away from going mid. And in the end, they went short and were absolutely crushed in the site by Pex. But I liked the decision, even though the execution wasn't there from Vox.
Check out Dan's HP so early in the round. I think he was the one that was picking mid quite early on. Copped a bit of damage there from the Deagles of Vox Eminor. I think it was Nova that took the initial shot. Now Moe's going to sneak out mid here. Tech9 going face to face with Ferg. Does pick up that frag quite early. So just resetting now Vox Eminor. And looking to take that fight perhaps to B with that man isolated. No mid cover at all. Vox just recognising this quite well.
Well, yeah, you can see him on the back of plat here. He's got 1 HP, and that's a great job in the sense that he's got a frag and spotted the bomb. Does get taken down, but almost to be expected. But I was surprised by the lack of support, and even less so now as Nova, tagged up as Paris, his first name, of course, does rip the head off STV. But a player with 1 HP needs a little bit more support there in the site. You have to feel, especially at a crucial choke point. Diggs doing a good job of getting a frag in mid there, but they're going to need to do some more here. They're going to need to retake the B site. The clock is now ticking, so with 3 members to take down in the form of Vox, they've positioned themselves well here. And Sicko should get the drop on the window player there and does take him down and does a good job to finish off Pex as well. So great work by Vox. And Chris, not for the first time when you've been in the hot seat, we've seen a team getting ecoed.
Seems like that's the way, isn't it? Every single map, people just get ecoed. That was just poor play by Vox. I'm sorry, by Exile5. The guy's on low HP. It's a good idea to put him at the back of plat, but he needed more support. He needed to have a guy up near the scaffolding or someone to flash in front of the big box for him when he picked. Like, it just wasn't enough. They didn't give him enough support.
Whose responsibility is that, though, Chris? Is that the support player, or should that be Dan's there in the site calling for that help and making sure that it's clear that his teammates know that he's low and in a precarious situation?
In this case, it's probably hard because I'm guessing Ferg was the mid player. He died early. So I don't know who was playing mid at the time. Maybe no one was. Maybe it was just a gamble. I'm not too sure. But in our team, it would be a partnership that would need to talk about it.
So having that good communication between all the players, making sure everyone's aware. But at the moment, what needs to be said is that Exile5 are doing a good job here of at least picking up a couple of frags. They are in possession of a FAMAS and a PT50, but Ferg is quite hurt at the moment. So the bomb getting planted in the position of the CT is almost at the complete opposite end of the map. There's almost no chance in the world that Exile5 will be going for this. Perhaps trying to save their weaponry or even pick up an exit frag or two for themselves. That you can tell with players such as Siko, I mean, they're already very aggressive by normal, but when they've got an SMG in their hands and that potential for the money bonus, you can be guaranteed that he's going to be chasing these last members of X5. RBZ does get taken down, but Siko trying, as we're talking about, to get those frags, but can't quite get the job done here. So perfect HP management in the sense that they've got about 10 health points on average between them, but they're still both alive.
Paris 2K, aka Nova, takes down Dan there. Dan's doing a good job against his former teammates there at the B site, just holding out, taking both of them down, and unfortunate for him, not able to save his gun and take that into the next round, just peeking and showing a bit too much head there to Nova.
We can see it looks as though X5 still, whilst they did save that FAMAS, the rest of the players are on the fist around here, and you can see with the positioning of the FAMAS, it's actually in that double stack in mid there with the NOA, as we used to refer to it, after a 1.6 team, and Ferg spraying and whiffing his shots. He should have made that frag there, so Nova will get away, but more importantly has the information as to Ferg's positioning, and knowing that the remaining members of X5 are on eco, they'll be quick to get as far away from Ferg as possible. STV has gone down, and you can see Vox stalling a little bit here in the side. I think a few good flash grenades perhaps from X5 has slowed down their progress and allowed Ferg to rotate to greet them at A. But greeting them, he is doing just that, as he's quite innocent in not putting any damage towards their way without falling. And X5 pecks, and Dan's the last two members standing. Did you like that work there, Chris, with putting Ferg on the boost? It seemed to me as though the boost came a little bit late.
Yeah, the boost was late. I actually hated it. I really don't like it when a player saves and keeps the gun for himself. Like, I think it's just selfish. Like, to me, he should have dropped the gun to the better fragger, which is either Pex or Dan's. Not to mention the ping difference as well. Like, Dan's is on, 15 ping, and Ferg's on 90 according to the scoreboard, which is probably closer to 100 in game. So, I don't like the fact that he kept it. He should have given it to his fragger. That's his role in the team, is to get the frags. Ferg's role is to call strats. He shouldn't have kept the gun for himself. And I think if Dan's was on that boost, he probably would have got he definitely would have got the one that Ferg missed, and maybe he would have got more. You never know.
What about an argument there with Ferg being the fact that he had armor saved? Does that come into it?
Well, not in that position either, because that's a position where you're not really going to get shot back. I mean, you could get grenaded, I guess, but that's a shot where you're basically shooting the guy without him knowing you're there, so anyone could have had it.
They do take that first frag there. Moe entering out long, just getting a lot of territory for his team there. And now Exile5, in fact, who's this cheeky member? It is Ferg pushing down to try and catch them out. Nova, all too aware of what was going on there, and gets the reply frag. And now they do have a distinct man advantage. Vox Eminor. I keep getting these two mixed up. There's too many X's in here, but nonetheless, they extend that man advantage now as that mid to B smoke goes down, and Dan's is going to be tested here. That flash completely blinding him. Absolutely no idea what's going on. But nonetheless, because they're just running wild outside that site, it's just a matter of time before Siko finds the last frag and digs there, and individually getting picked off there, Exile5. Not really doing anything as a team or anything coordinated per se.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of confidence at the moment in Vox Eminor when we see them moving around and we see these individuals making those aggressive plays, such as we saw at the end there, them dropping CT spawn, but not to pit him out again, but for the second time I think we saw Ferg there missing a shot or not converting a kill that perhaps he should have made. I think Nova, the victim or the near victim on both occasions, they're getting away with another 20 points of health. But it's those sort of battles that I think, especially when you're up against a tough opposition with the strength of Vox, that you don't need to be making and winning for your team to have a chance here. They are on eco again. I think RBZ perhaps suspicious of one member on the left side of the doors there, because it's a good Molotov placement, but it still allows the CT Monu to step back and get out of the flames without being in too much danger. I think the wiser decision here is to back off from the long bedroom, which Vox will now do. And heading towards mid, we can see Sicko and Moe with the AWP in hand. So the double AWP set up on the T, quite unusual I'd normally say, but Moe has been in such incredible form and Sicko has that much frag potential in him that I really wouldn't question it too much in this instance for this team. Because they're doing a good job there of getting a frag, and really whilst they're taking their time, they are making the right choices here and making those right battles.
Yeah, they are making those right battles, and someone that's battling quite well is Paris, or Nova, as he's better known in the scene. Just a nice, clean and easy anti-eco for Vox Eminor, and they streak ahead, 5-1 to score. A gun round to come in for Exile5, and Diggs just contemplating whether or not they do want that double AWP setup. He does have enough money to go for it there, and I think they are going to go for it, in fact. The double AWP setup. Let's just see how they work this.
You can see initially at least one of the AWPs from the terrorist side, because they've got two apiece. One of the AWPs, or actually only Sicko now, does take it towards the B side and does drop STV. So the first encounter does go the way of the New Zealand there in the form of Sicko. Doing a good job getting that opening frag. Now, crucially, that will draw a rotation from A. You can see Ferg playing the mid doors, does get flashed down, tries to back away, but he would have been spotted there. Moe would have spotted the shoulder of Ferg, calls his positioning, so you can see the Molotov go down, forces Ferg out from behind that box. Great teamwork, and that would have been on-point communication, having to relay Ferg's positioning very, very quickly and very effectively amongst themselves. So that's a really good sign for Vox Eminor that the team is working well together. It's really stretched the defense here. You can see Diggs on a ramp, really going to have to do a great job here of locking it down on his own, because not much in the way of support with only one member, the distance that he is away at long at the moment. And Diggs is well aware now that they're making their way out onto the site, so Pex will now rotate, but it just leaves that long flank a real possibility, as you can see one member there, RBZ, lurking at long. So if Pex wasn't too careful, he would have been taken down, but as it was, he falls anyway. I think a spectator bug might have been going on there. I think there was a smoke there that we couldn't quite see. So I think there was a smoke there, but in any case, Dan's last surviving member will try and save that AWP. And it will soon shortly be 6-1. I was just trying to say, Chris, if we look at the X5 and the position they're in at the moment, I mean, they're going to be down 6-1. They know that they must win this map and the next map to have any chance of getting this comeback going and stay in contention for getting the trip. As Dan's with a nice shot there. So I'll throw you the question in one moment. I was just say, what would be the message, or how do you turn it around? Because they're now in a position where they're struggling financially as well. They're not getting too many frags, and they're struggling to be able to afford all the weaponry and utility that they'd like. What can they do to try and turn things around for them?
They need to use this eco to just confirm how they think Vox Eminor are playing, and then try and address it next round, which obviously will be you assume it'll be a gun round. So they need to work out or confirm what they think is happening, and then try and beat it next round. And if they want to take a timeout, they can, and then talk about it, and then hopefully try and beat it next round. Yeah, we'll see how they go.
Now this is happening a little thick and fast here, as Dan's is finally dealt with that AWP, the last man to fall from Exile5. But yeah, you're right, they need to certainly work something out, as what they're currently doing is not working for them. Their CT setups are simply just being picked apart by superior teamwork from Vox Eminor, as we saw them working really well out mid and just isolating Ferg in CT spawn there as one key example. But now leaving Diggs, I believe, in mid with that AWP. But they've gone for a double AWP setup again, so really not a lot's changed other than STV hoping not to get picked earlier. I think Ferg now is that solo man to site, so rather than taking an AWP and putting it on B platform, they've simply sent a rifle in to do the job.
Well, you can see Moe. I like this little double setup here. It won't probably come to much fruition given that Ferg's hiding, but you can see the intent trying to look over the smoke into the B site. I think it was probably a strategic smoke that they had laid down, because it was quite deep into the tunnel there. It doesn't look like Ferg would have thrown that, but trying to get the pick at B there. Meanwhile, a couple of Vox members heading towards mid, trying to establish their presence, but Sicko, off the back of an AWP tag and a HE at the feet, will get blown to smithereens, but Moe does catch off Ferg now at B, so whilst they did lose a man in mid, they will now quickly rotate onto the empty B bomb site, and really try and beat the CTs here. There's a bit of an exchange here at window, as it is a battle for mid, but Moe doing a fantastic job with the assistance there of Nova in locking down the side, and RBZ playing hide and go seek in the smoke. Gets one, should get the second, and does. Good finish to the round there. And great work by, I think, Vox Eminor and Moe and Nova in particular to exploit that B pick and get into the site very quickly. Sometimes, Chris, would you agree with this, that you see teams getting the pick, but perhaps the bomb's not there or the teammates aren't there, so they stall a little bit? In this instance, they made the frag and just pounced straight away into B.
Yeah, the way Exile5 are playing B is also pretty questionable. They're playing really, really passive, and they're allowing people just to go in and make picks. And if they're not at the back or with the boost, they just go in and shoot them in the face. It's going to happen again now on this eco. And they're not playing mid either. They need to take more control. They need to either take mid with some short boosts, or they need to take a long. They need to do something. But they're giving Vox Eminor way too much territory, forcing them to play defensive, and then they're just walking in and picking. Like, Exile5, yeah, they just need to play a lot more aggressive. They need some flash moves, some smokes, push up mid, do something just to stop this momentum, but to stop the way they're playing. Like, they got 2 AWPs now. I hope one of them takes an aggressive pick, but I'm guessing they're going to be super defensive long and back a plat or something. But we'll see what they.
I don't like this now though, because they have tried the double AWP setup. This will be the 3rd time, and each of the times, I mean, they did try and take mid control last time we saw the double AWPs, like you were suggesting, but they did so quite passively by holding back and taking the turns picky. And I think they need to be a little bit more aggressive, as you're saying, but it's not the case, at least to start off the round. Dan's there in mid and city spawn. We'll hear and we'll communicate that there are a few of Vox members funneling their way up the stairs. You can see that almost the 2 AWPers here of Vox standing side by side, Moe and Sicko, just almost watching each other, saying, do you want to get the first pick or shall I? Because that's the success at which they're having at the moment on the scoreboard. And the pace is now slowed down, but Jim, the A attack will now come in.
Yeah, another gentleman's agreement there, just being too polite with who will frag first, but nonetheless, because he's taking the duties. And he's waiting for this A site. Nova, though, dropped into CT spawn with to cover that smoke and picks up Dan's, just getting a little bit too adventurous. Will do a lot of damage to Ferg, but Ferg just quicker on the trigger as well. But Diggs will be disappointed with somehow missing that shot. And that lurk there from RBZ puts a lot of pressure on Diggs now as he has to make that frag. He does do so, and Moe is standing tall in his site defense, as just placing himself there as a turret with the help of Kozi, putting that round on the board for Vox Eminor. 10-1 the score. Exile5 are going to go for this force buy. They need these rounds.
Can I just say, hats off to Legacy, because Legacy beat Vox Eminor 2-0 only a few nights ago earlier on in the week, and they made it look quite easy. Now Vox, apart from that one match, they've looked really, really strong and haven't lost to anyone else, and they're making a clinic of this match as well. So great showing by Legacy the other night to silence what is the force of Vox Eminor at the moment with their new lineup.
Jeez, and Sicko showing that he doesn't need the AWP to just frag. Getting straight into short, taking control, taking down 2 guns from Exile5, and this force buy, big gamble, is not paid off at all for Exile5. STV doesn't even realise he's being shot at from the top of mid. Moe finally finishing the job there and shooting him from the palm tree, or light pole as it's now known. Exile5 just being picked apart so easily by Vox Eminor. Wherever they want, whatever they're doing, it's turning to gold.
The score now reads 11-1. I'm just thinking in my mind, it's churning over exactly what X5 could do. I know we've been speculating, but let's not forget that their season rides on this match. X5 must win 2-0 here to keep their championship dreams alive, but things are just not going their way, are they? You can see they have chosen to bust out long very, very quickly this round, Vox Eminor. They did get the 2 frags. They did lose a member, but the quick exchange has let them get up long without any sort of CT rotation there, and that's got to be a frustrating way to die for Ferg, getting killed from T-spawn 30 seconds into the round. That'll really burn him, and could have had STV there having a similar fate, and does eventually. He cops the same fate that Ferg did in the end there, so I think Mo will be chuckling to himself a little bit at the moment. But Chris, where to from here? Is there anywhere to go from here?
In the bin.
In the bin.
That's the only place to go from here.
I'm calling it already.
Further deeper into the bin.
Just for one night, I'd like to have a Renegades person on the panel who didn't call the game as over in the first half, Chris. That would be wonderful. Yaman would call it after the pistol round. It would be called as GG after pistol if Yaman was on here. You can be guaranteed. But Chris, what's making you say that? As we see STV did a nice frag there.
I don't think Exile5 are reading the play very good. But I actually think Vox are reading it super good. They've noticed that Exile5 are playing 2-1-2 quite a lot of the rounds, and they've just been hitting them up, especially towards the end of the half. They just hit them up with a lot of fast A executes, which they throw a really good CT spawn smoke, which stops the rotation. Basically, there's only one guy defending A, and they're just killing him. And then they can't rotate, they can't retake, and that's how it's ending. They're just reading the play a lot better than Exile5 at the moment. And they're also sharper. They're making a lot more shots.
Now this A site's going to be tested as RBZ. Pex just tagging him so heavily through that smoke, and now he's the solo man left defending this site. They already have control of the bomb site. Nova finding a great frag onto STV. A cheeky little one through the smoke in CT there. But a 3v3 situation will ensue with 2 members of Exile5 in that long, well, short now, but one less with Moe and Sicko just doing great work with the AWPs and Dak respectively. And that Dak buy, I don't think that was a misbuy. I certainly think that's a bit of mind games coming into this.
Oh, I don't think so at all. I think that even if he did misbuy, I mean, look at the money. They had that much that even if he accidentally bought the auto sniper, he could quickly buy another AWP if he wanted to. That's how much money he had. That's definitely a deliberate decision. You can see him spamming away at the moment. And more importantly, look at the 2 CTs there. It's quite curious to see them waiting to hear that gunfire stop before they cross. Particularly aware of that Dak or auto sniper noise and the danger that it can possess if one of those bots, or even more, do tag them up. So that will cause their B site rotation to be quite late. At least one member did get across early in the form of STV, but he has been taken down now. So I'll be interested to see whether they do collapse on B. Doesn't look to be the case here. So we see a nice double stack or NOA stack in mid, catching 2 members of Vox off guard as they did look to rotate back from B through to short, relying on the fact that that mid smoke would provide them cover, but not to know that there was a member there looking over the top of it from Team Exile5.
Yeah, and now things have been reversed. Finally, Exile5 getting the upper hand slightly in this round. As Ferg just pushed that smoke, and it's going to come very close to Kozi, but Kozi just waiting him out a little bit more. Diggs doing a great job of rotating through and collapsing on the top of mid, but Sicko just counter-flanking the flank. And now we'll have to go 1-on-2. He doesn't have the bomb though. That is sitting halfway down mid, and Dans and Pex are just holding their angles respectively. Dans will be smoked out, and perhaps we'll have an opportunity to push that smoke ever so slightly. But Sicko just opting now to go for the AK. Much more versatile in this situation than the AWP, as he does find that first frag on Pex. The first step in him winning this round and extending Vox Eminor's lead even further. But Dans straight on the flank here is going to make his way up short. The Molotov, interesting, just clears out the site, but forces him to plant for short, and that is exactly where Dans is waiting. Sicko though, that grenade does a lot of damage, but too sharp there in the end. Dans winning his team the 2nd round of the half, but is it going to be enough?
There honestly can't be an explanation, can there, for Pex's positioning there? Wide open at the top of the stairs. Of all the spots to choose, I mean, he had plenty of time. We saw Sicko taking his time at the top of mid. They had the AWP initially, eventually exchanged it for an AK. There's no reason at all why Pex should be getting caught off guard there in the stairwell. I don't have an explanation for that.
I was hoping that he was going to go to like what we call a 50 spot, like right on the edge there, so he can basically make the shot to short and then just drop if he doesn't get like the basic one-shot tap.
You're talking about at the top of the stairs on that edge,
so
where
like
you can just spot to the base and fall
just
off the
shoot to the
CT?
base and fall. If you don't make the shot, because then at least the guys in CT spawn, at least you can go together and play together. But it kind of gives you, you got a chance to spot and fall basically. But what he was doing there, that was just borderline insane. Like if he doesn't make the shot, he's dead, which he didn't. He died, and then it forces a pretty tricky 1v1. And I'm surprised Sicko couldn't hear Dan's in CT spawn as he came upstairs. Maybe the Molotov to sky some of the sound, but Dan's wasn't overly quiet, and I thought you would have been able to hear that because it was directly above him, and the Molotov cut him off, and he nearly planted for, exactly for him, and he lost the 1v1.
I think he did a good job though, in the sense that Sicko did put a lot of pressure on Exile5. So whilst Vox did ultimately lose the round, there's nothing easy coming X5's way, and as Moe gets a crisp USP shot up mid, we saw Chiefs try this with revolvers. Well, Moe is showing that you can also do it with USPs there, with a nice frag, and Nova doing great support work there and getting one for himself. Diggs does manage to catch Nova off guard though at lower, so I'm not sure how that's all transpired. You're normally aware that you're quite exposed there if you step out onto the catwalk. So X5 trying to capitalize off that first frag, make it a second as well, but Moe again, so calm and composed. You can see he's in no rush just aims at the heads and gently taps away. But Sicko in the side, he'll be communicating that they are pushing into A now, and it's a 2-on-2. Moe just below, perhaps trying to catch 1 or 2 off guard, and again, a third for the round, making it look so easy and trying to finish it off in a flashy sort of way, isn't he? He jumps up and down, but decides to back off and wait for the support of his teammate here. The bomb is in the hands of Diggs. I think that plant will get committed, so at least some money going their way, albeit the round certainly not. 14-2 the scoreline reads.
The way Moe picked that first guy, that was great, but then he kind of fell to a defensive position, allowing, to play the situation correctly, like a 2v1. But he also did a quick little jump spot just to confirm, and he would have communicated to his teammate that he's still on the site, allowing RBZ to basically rush with his knife out all the way up the stairs, and then just play the 2v1 exactly how he should.
Yeah, good work there. As we said, that Moe does have a Q in his name, no reference drawn to Kukli, of course. That's what we call him here in Australia. But STV has opted for that Deagle buy. Really not too much of a choice here from Exile5. They've gone on pistols, the armor, and a little bit of utility to boot as well. So they are going to make their way up mid through stairs, and now going to be tested here and ensure that Molotov is going to separate the pack though. It's because he picks up the first frag, and now they're going to come into the crossfire. Or what was a crossfire before Ferg bowled Nova clean out. Look at that plant, but they are all caught in bad open positions as Moe just cleans up with that M4. STV now, a lot of work to do with that Deagle. Does pick up Moe, and we'll need to pivot, but unfortunately RBZ just too quick on the flank there. That will bring up match point for Vox Eminor in his first map, so another force buy will come in. And do you think Exile5 has what it takes to contend with what is now 13 match points?
Well, it's their season on the line, isn't it? Like you said, 13 match points. The only way from here is to string 13 rounds together and go and take it in overtime. It goes without saying, but saying it and implementing it are obviously two separate things. It's going to be incredibly difficult. I know Coach Gomez already has written them off in the first half, so I won't even think about asking what his prediction might be, but they have obviously invested everything they can into the round. They do have 3 rifles and 2 Tech 9s. Probably less though than what they'll be matched up against in the form of Vox Eminor, who have nearly rifles across the board and intent on taking long control as they do throw a few grenades in towards that long bedroom to try and scare X5 away. But X5, they're still putting a lot of pressure on Vox in the sense that Diggs has got a frag now and putting a bit of pressure on the B side as well. You can see them funneling out mid, so a B split is on the cards, and Sicko and Paris, or Nova I should say, are so far away from the action. It's important that Koze can put up some sort of resistance. He has got 2 frags, can't quite get a third though, but does get at least more than his fair share. It's down to a 2-on-2 situation, and this is Exile5's season on the line. They must hold this round, otherwise they cannot come first in our competition here. It's down to a 2-on-2. You can see that Sicko adding that extra dimension, coming through upper dark, trying to create another angle for the T's to have to focus on, and all of a sudden, Diggs finds himself without any sort of support in the back of the site, does spot out one member at the doors, not looking his way, of course, not knowing where he would be. Down to a 1-on-1 and a nice headshot there. He takes down Sicko, and for the time being, just for a little bit longer, X5 season continues.
Good work from Diggs in a tough spot. Having to do a lot of work for his team in that situation, but if we look at the scoreboard there, just see Vox Eminor, they're all putting in a shift here. No one really standing out in the pack, whereas I guess Diggs really the only one that's sort of putting up numbers for Exile5. Sicko just on an adventure up mid. He's gone walkabout straight up there, getting a lot of information for his team, most importantly, as he's almost behind them there at long. Now Kosi picks up a frag in the meantime, but that flank from Sicko is going to come in there as he does enough to distract. Kosi picks up that frag as he charges through the smoke, delays the bomb plant a little bit further. Nova shows us he's one of the most proficient deaglers around before he's quickly traded by Pex, and 2v2 situation will unfold here, but Dance's HP really isn't that great, and he's a long way from his teammate with that bomb still down in his A site. Pex showing us why he's one of the sharpest young prospects in the country at the moment. Removing RBZ quite quickly. Now Moe has this scout. He's quite good with these scout weapons. Does pick up the first frag on Dance, who was quite low already, but now it has to go 1-on-1, toe-to-toe with Pex. Now, I do believe Pex picked up that frag before the go TV. He had a little bit of a skip there, so that round did go the way of Exile5.
I was actually hoping he wasn't going to pick up that scout, because they would have seen the scout get picked up, and they would have known exactly where he was. They were both tagged. He probably could have just finished him with that 5-7. But the scope gave it away. He got one. He might have got a second with the jump scope, but GTV lagged, and I assume he just missed, and then he died.
That's what I thought as well, Chris. I thought they would have seen him pick it up, but it seemed as though that first member, I think it might have been Dan's, as he was going up along, as he first was the one to see Moe. He wasn't even looking where Moe had picked up that weapon from, so I started to doubt myself whether he did see it, but I think you're right. But we have seen Vox. They've opened up really strong in this round here, and this is going to put so much pressure on Exile5. Of course, they do need to win every round from here on out. They're down in a 3-on-5 situation now, and whilst they do have a few AKs and utility grenades to speak of, they definitely don't have the teammates that they would have liked to get this job done. And you can see two of them in mid, slowly heading their way towards short, but STV really in a 3-on-5, not offering much to his team at the moment, almost sitting back, was thinking about flanking long, but I think now the call's been made to regroup and go as a tree, and I think this is probably the better option. But in any case, maybe there isn't a good option, as Kozir is lying in wait in the site there, closely supported by Sicko, and they're doing a fantastic job here of eventually getting the crosshair on them long enough to get the frags, and we find STV, the last man alive, in a 1-on-4, and surely this is the first map going the way of Vox than it is. And that, ladies and gentlemen, signals the end of X5 season, and Vox, their hopes, regardless of what happens on this next map, will continue at least another day until tomorrow's final day of action.
That is very much the case. Now, you said that they needed to win to optimise their chances. They'll be going for that now. They'll be buoyed by this, and let's see a few cases drop there for either team. They're certainly going to be the ones to look out for in this second map.
To put it in context, the difference here for Vox Eminor between winning and losing this second map, and in essence winning or